there is a question that haunts every sincere student of this law, a question whispered in the quiet moments of doubt. After all the imaginal acts, after all the affirmations, how do you truly know that you have changed? How can you be certain that your inner work is effective and not just a hopeful game of pretend? Many look for signs in the outer world, an overheard conversation that seems to speak directly to them, a chance encounter that feels like fate, a sudden windfall, but these are fleeting and unreliable. There is, however, one true measure, a simple, powerful test that I have shared with many over the years to determine if you have truly transformed your state of consciousness. I call it the reaction test. Let me show you this test in action, for it appears in many forms in every corner of your life. It is the moment a loved one, out of what they believe is concern, says to you, "Don't you think you're getting a bit too old to find someone and settle down?" It is the moment you share your dream of buying a beautiful home with a friend, and he looks at you and says, "A house like that? Be serious. That is completely out of your league." It is the moment you discreetly share your ambition for a higher position with a colleague, and they whisper with a cynical sigh, "Oh, that role? Don't waste your time. Everyone knows that's being saved for the boss's favorite." Now, observe the two men who can live within you in response to these words. The first man reacts. He takes the bait every time he hears you are too old and feels a cold wave of fear. He hears it is out of your league, and his desire deflates into foolishness. He hears the game is rigged and feels a surge of hopeless anger. His inner kingdom is in chaos, conquered and plundered by every passing shadow. This man is failing the test, moment by moment. But the second man hears these very same words and feels a profound and quiet peace. He hears the judgment, the limitation, the cynicism, but the words are like a foreign language, describing a reality that is not his. There is no sting, no fear, no anger. Instead, there is only a calm, unshakable knowing deep within him that says, "They speak from their world of shadows, not from mine. In my world, I am loved, I am abundant, I am recognized for my true worth." His inner kingdom remains completely undisturbed. This man has passed the test. This is the only measure that matters. Whether the trigger is a word of doubt about your age, a word of limitation about your means, or a word of injustice about your career, the test is the same. It is not what you do when you are trying to manifest. It is how you automatically react when you are not trying at all. Your life presents you with this test every moment of every day. And this is how you learn to finally pass it. You have now seen the test in action. You have witnessed how simple words spoken by another can divide a man's inner kingdom. But here lies the most misunderstood secret of the law of assumption. Many believe the test lies in the words spoken to you, in the cynical comment, or in the limiting opinion. They spend their time and energy trying to change the words of others, hoping that one day the outer world will never again challenge their belief. But that is a fatal mistake. The outer world is not the reality, but merely a shadow, an echo. It has no power to affect you, save through the beliefs that are already alive within you. Think of it this way. When you stand before a mirror and see your reflection, do you try to change the reflection directly? Do you touch the surface of the glass to alter your expression? Of course not. You know you must change your own expression for the reflection to change. Your spontaneous reaction to the words of another is that same mirror. It is not a response to an external event, but an honest revelation of the beliefs that are still alive within you. A man who holds a firm conviction that he is loved will not be angered if another says he is too old to be loved. The words would sound strange and irrelevant to him, like hearing that the sky is green. A woman who knows with absolute certainty that she is abundance will not feel threatened if she hears that her business is bound to fail. The words are but empty sounds, having no correlation to her inner reality. Every negative word or event that triggers you is not an obstacle, but a divine gift. It is a mirror that shows you precisely where you need to do your inner work. It is a divine course correction that says, your attention is still divided. Here, at this point, is where an old belief still resides. The goal is not to control others or your environment. The goal is to so fully unite with your new state that words not in harmony with your inner reality have no power. And when you finally reach that state where you can hear limiting words without the slightest inner disturbance, then you have succeeded in changing the reflection in the mirror. You have passed the greatest test of life, the test of becoming master of yourself. So the real question is this: how do you transform the man who stands before the mirror? How do you rewrite the script you've been unconsciously performing all your life? The one that causes you to react the same way again and again. Not with brute force, not with self-condemnation, but with the divine art, the true work of transformation. It begins with a single, simple act, the creation of a sacred pause. The moment the external world presents you with a trigger, the moment you feel that old familiar rush of anger or fear, your first act of power is to do nothing. At first, this will feel difficult. The old reaction will seem instantaneous, lightning fast. But this pause is a muscle. The first time you create it, it may only last a fraction of a second, but you have begun. You have introduced a new power into your world, the power of conscious delay. Once you have created this space of stillness, your next work is to observe the emotion without judgment. Your reaction is not your enemy. It is your messenger. It shows you precisely where the old man still lives. Every emotional charge is a flashlight pointing toward an unhealed belief. You must look upon the feeling that has arisen within you as a curious scientist would observe a passing cloud. And here, you must be gentle, for there are two great traps. The first is to judge the feeling, to scold yourself for it. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be more spiritual. This only adds a second layer of suffering. The second trap is to indulge it, to justify it, to mentally list all the reasons you are right to feel that way, and so to feed it more of your energy. Your work is to do neither. You simply say internally, I am observing the feeling of anger. You do not become it. You are the serene, silent awareness of it. From this place of detached observation, you now become the investigator. You must ask a courageous question. What must I truly believe about myself to have reacted this way? Follow the thread of the emotion back to its source. What old story is this reaction trying to prove is true? The reaction of anger from a dismissive comment, does it not spring from a deeper, hidden belief that says, I am not respected or my ideas are worthless? The feeling of anxiety when you look at your bills, does it not come from a core conviction that says, there is never enough for me? You must be ruthlessly, lovingly honest. Once you have found this liar, this old belief that has governed your life from the shadows, you must sentence it to death. You can write it on paper, look at it, and recognize it for what it is, a phantom with no power of its own. Then you write its replacement, the truth. It must be in the present tense. It must begin with the most powerful words you can ever utter. I am. If the lie was I am not respected, the truth you now declare is I am completely respected and my contributions are valued. This new statement is your new reality. And finally, you must impress it upon your mind. For a few minutes each day, you take this new empowering belief and you feel its truth. When you ask, what would it feel like if this were absolutely true right now? You don't just think the words, you allow the feeling of relief, of security, of being that new person to permeate your being. This is how you fertilize the new seed day by day until it becomes a mighty tree. Now you possess the pause that turns the tide, the choice that shapes your world, and the pattern for remaking yourself from within. Why does this inner discipline hold such power? Because all of creation rests upon one truth. Consciousness is the only reality. There is no one to change but self. Your reaction is never just a response. It is a creative act. It is consciousness accepting a new fact or reaffirming an old one. It is you, God, declaring, I am this. This is why this work is the only work that matters. This truth is not new. It is eternal, a secret whispered through the ages. The book of Proverbs says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. Think on this profound metaphor. A city without walls is defenseless. It is at the mercy of every passing army, every wandering thief, every whisper of danger. This is the man who cannot control his reactions. He is spiritually defenseless, for he does not know he is the only reality. His inner peace is stolen by a rude comment. His confidence is plundered by a piece of bad news. His joy is captured by the mood of another. But you were never meant to live in this broken city. You are the I am that rebuilds it from within. The discipline of non-reaction, the work of transformation, these are the instruments you use to build your inner walls, stone by stone. But what is the mortar that holds these stones together? What is the fuel for this divine work? It is one thing, and one thing only, desire. Desire is what gives your new reaction a foundation. It is the fire that keeps the I am alive through every storm. And it is your love for the new state that transforms your reaction from habit into creation. You may know the most perfect method, but without a burning desire to change, your efforts will be lukewarm. You fail, not because the method is difficult, but because you do not fall in love enough with the idea of the man you want to be. The new state does not haunt you, and so you do not fully inhabit it. This, then, is your final and most important task. Fall in love with the person you are becoming. Then take the keys I have given you today and begin to build his kingdom within you. The world has no choice but to reflect the magnificence of what you have built. Let the outer world fade, for the true work is always done within. Now, let us go into the silence.